Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Jewelry can say many things on your wedding day. As a wedding band, it can say, "This is a forever symbol of our forever love." As a gift to your wedding party, it can say, "Thanks for standing up there with us." Blue Nile can help you find the piece that says it all and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com.
You're watching For My People, Marie Martinod. We're here. Peace, y'all. Welcome to Giving Flowers. It's Wednesday. How you doing, Iberg?
Man, we on New Schoolers. Big Wednesday. We're not on Inspired no more. We're moving on up. Big up, NS.
Yeah, thanks for the platform, NS, and thanks to the people partaking. This is a special, special day. How we doing? What you smoking on today, Rick?
Oh, man, great question. That was what I was just doing. Man, this is a guy. I told you about him. Ross Jacob. So he's lived in Breckenridge forever. He was an unbelievable farmer. He's come to Minnesota. He hooks me up with the premium CBG white flowers. It's organic, man. Dark Horse Farms. Big up Ross Jacob.
Cha!
Rastafari.
Yes, today we got a queen. One of the woman pioneers of free skin. She had her career split in two halves like a soccer game. First half was experimental, free-flowing. She made her stamp through style and even competing and doing some of great results in X Games. She had her pro model, 2005, one of the first women to ever have, maybe arguably the first woman to have a pro model.
She was. Pro model.
Then she took the halftime break in which she might have gotten some of Michael's secret stuff. You know, the Bugs Bunny Space Jam water, the placebo thing. They all drink and come back on the court and fuck the monsters up. Monstars.
Okay, so she got the placebo juice from Bugs Bunny.
She came back on court for the second half and dominated. She
Fully
scored again and again. X Games gold medalist, customized outfits, 2-time silver medal at Olympics. She starred on Netflix, a documentary about her.
Damn.
Real. She had her own event in memory of the legendary and great Sarah Burke.
R.I.P. Sarah.
For real, she has won the game, allez, bleus. Today we give flower to no other than
Marie. You want to say her last name? It's French.
Yeah, easier. Martinod.
Oh man, Marie Martinod. So we're going to learn how to call her here. I think I hit an add button, and then I hit this, and then I type in her name. All right, Marie. Yeah.
Oh
Technology, Marie. It's been a decade or two.
Look what you make me doing. Like, I've never done that before.
Hey, you should have seen Mike Nick. He's super old. He thought he could do it on a computer.
Well, I'm glad. I was waiting, but on the message page, I guess, and I was ready and waiting, but okay, we're good.
Sometimes you just got to be hip to Instagram lives.
And we are, like, has been with Instagram. My daughter is all about some other stuff, and she says Insta is already, we are late.
How old is your daughter?
13.
Nuts.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, Phil had an unbelievable intro for you, so you probably missed it because you didn't know that. You had to watch the live when we started. So we've already introduced you and then been fooling around trying to find you for the last 5 minutes. So this is Marie Martinod.
Sorry.
She is a queen of the sport. She's foundation. She helped create this whole sport. She's been around pretty much since day one. And a lot of, like, I think so what we do, Marie, the whole point of this show is Phil and I talk all the time, and Phil's still involved in skiing. I'm not so much, but we still talk about skiing. And we figured like we've lost some friends and all this, and we wanted to use this platform to celebrate the people that did big things that helped make the sport what it is today. And like you were one of these big people that helped create everything. You're like a European Sarah Burke with style. Like it's nuts. So like, but I think like just like, especially with Julian, a lot of North America doesn't know about you guys. And then when I Googled you, like, man, I don't even think the world knows you skied before 2011. And so like that, I really wanted to use this show because I mean, pretty much I only think of you before 2007.
Yeah.
And so that's crazy. And so this is a show to celebrate you, Marie, to give you thanks, to give you flowers for everything you did for twin tip skiing, what you helped create, and I know how many girls you have influenced too, and guys. So this is what we're going to do for an hour. Just give you thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Erica. That's too much flowers for now. I mean, I don't really feel like it. It was just, you, me, some others having fun out there in the mountain, and probably that's the best way it was. Like, we didn't know exactly what we were creating. We were just having fun together.
But you killed it. And like one of the biggest things that like, so you're 38 today?
Yep.
Okay. So when I break it down, because I was trying to think, I first saw you in life in Vars at the O's Winter Games at a Big Air in 2000, right? So It was like, I'm guessing what, you were 16, right?
Yeah.
So 16 is when Marie started in the sport. And I remember filming and everyone was there. I was there with the three Phils and I was like, who the fuck is that girl? And then Cedric Mazier is like, oh man, it's this girl. I think she's quitting. I think I remember it right. Were you an aerialist before?
Yeah, definitely. Moguls, aerials, but because it was just this, it was only this in Europe, and we were just starting to have some big airs. But for example, I didn't see any rails since I went to US in Mammoth Mountain. I discovered rails. I didn't even know it was before that. So yeah, pretty much coming from aerials.
So when I saw you at this point, and I just want to put this in people's mind because you were 16, it was 2000 as the beginning of the sport. Like, and you were the only girl in Europe. Like there was no other. Like, I mean, there was one girl in Switzerland I remember that always was kind of steezy as well, up by Diaberlay. She had like business cards, always wore camouflage. If you remember her in a vest, I forgot her name. But that was no, not Virginie. She came a little after this girl. This girl was always at. But yeah, so I mean, like, what even made you get into the sport at such an early age? I mean, you were beside Candide, who was 16 or 17 as well. Mikel Disno, who was your age, I believe, and so like you had the influences of gods, but how do you?
It all started with Dynastar actually, because Dynastar took me in the team to help me in the mogul and in the aerial, and all this move of new free skiing came from the US, and Cedric Mézières, the team manager, said, hey, you wanna, I saw you jumping, you're good, and we'd love you to take with us and try to travel for one season and see what is going on, if you meet other girls. Because there is other girls, he was saying, there is other girls in the world doing that, like 2 or 3 maybe. He was talking about Sarah and Christy. And he thought it was going to be cool for me to see what's going on everywhere else than in France. And that all started like this. And well, I just discovered a brand new world and new opportunities, and it was sick.
So something that you can't research on you, and the only thing I think about you is these years, because you stayed with us so much, like at our house and stuff. What really was it that, like, because you were just, to me, you were the female Mikel at the time, like at X Games, like you're the only girl that smoked with us, like you had do-rags hanging out of you wanted style. Like, what was it? Like, you put yourself on the map so much that you got a pro model. And then I try to find your film segments, and I can't find film segments. And you have one with level 1. I'm like, yo, you really killed it so hard that your style was so dope that you got a pro model before all these other girls. You got like what was it that you did? Like, can you explain your career at the beginning? Like what you were doing even? Like, was it photos? Was it movies? What was it at the beginning for you?
It was, of course, for sure, Mick. There's no a huge influence on me. He was driving, kind of. He was showing me everything he already done, and that I could do the same. My chance was that I never had any. I've never think that because I was a woman it would be different. I was just hanging out with you guys and doing what you guys would do, and if you would go for a rail on a night session, I would just follow. And then I realized pretty fast that I could organize myself to do stuff. So I proposed the dinosaur to an supermodel, and I proposed my resort Lapline to organize some photo shoot, and I figured out it was pretty easy to move lines and make people like coming with me on this huge adventure. So I just follow my dream, and you know, when you're young, you're just like, let's try. If it works, that's good. If it doesn't, we'll try again. So I was just so young and so not prepared, so I just only push every door I could, and that was the way it was. And I was smoking so much that anyway, I have no fear, no fear about trying anything. I mean, pushing doors. So it was cool. It was the way it started, and yeah, we were for running for guys contests because we were filming, shooting, doing stuff like that. And on the other side, there was some contests, mostly in the US. So it was fun to compete too. But for the maybe 2 or 3 first years, that was just for running for guys, which was pretty cool. No pressure.
Yeah.
Dinosaur was paying for everything, so we would travel everywhere, but being paid for doing ski, it was just amazing. When I think about it now, I'm just like, we were so lucky.
It was
finally.
Yeah, and it's all kids, right? You, Candide, Mikkel, Baptiste, maybe the Phils, and everyone's under 18, and there's like a daddy. You guys all get salaries, and that's the crazy part now. That's not even normal in skiing. Like you guys all had salaries, but then everything was taken care of. Team manager got the car. Team manager rented the house. Team manager bought the food. Team manager organized the cameramen. And then it's like photos. And then it's like, oh man, should we go to Japan next week? So Phil, I'm going to let you jump in because I don't know if you guys even ever have met. And so I've taught Phil a bunch, but Phil is the biggest reason why we even created the show, because he's the man. Like he's got to start at such a young age like you. Like, I mean, you have 2 careers in your life, but when said and done, it's 1 career, and it lasted almost 2 decades. So that's fucked up. So this is Phil Casabon, a.k.a. B-Dog. Sorry to talk. As you guys will notice, I do it too much.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Jewelry can say many things on your wedding day. As a wedding band, it can say, "This is a forever symbol of our forever love." As a gift to your wedding party, it can say, "Thanks for standing up there with us." Blue Nile can help you find the piece that says it all and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com.
We know each other, but we
Yeah, definitely. Since we were on the topic of your early career and you were using style steroids, what Iberg is puffing on right now, cannabis, I was wondering,
Style steroids.
what's your definition of style? How would you define it?
That's a very, very good question. I love when it's new, when the style of someone creates something new that when you see it, you're just like, oh, oh, you know. So it can be super different from a rider to another. Style is just, if it creates you an emotion, I guess it's style. You know, for example, Auntie, when I see him riding, I just feel like, okay, it's still possible to create stuff, to make it easy, which is pretty difficult. It looks like everything's been done, so the only way to push the level would be, push the ski would be to add more rotation and spin more. And so I'm very glad when I see people like Auntie able to create stuff without adding spin. But yeah, I guess it's all emotion.
Did you think about style a lot at the beginning? Like, because you were around Mikkel? I mean, that kid changed outfits 3 times a day, right?
Yeah.
When you would travel?
I'm going to tell you a story, a funny story. I was in Montwood and pipe. I loved pipe since the beginning. And T-Hole was here. And I tried to grab my 5 and get down at the bottom of the pipe. And he came to me and he's like, did you try to grab your 5? And I was like, yeah, but I guess I missed it. And he was like, yeah, but you tried to grab. I mean, it started like a whole story about it. Like, this girl, she tried to grab and she knows about style. And I was so like just happy and glad that he would think I was stylish or I was trying to be stylish. It was like, okay, that's the way I want to be. It's just about it. It's all about it. It's about style. And I just learned it. I wasn't born with this in my mind. I just understood by skiing with those guys that it was pretty much the only thing that would be interesting.
Acknowledged by the ski boss. Anybody who gets that is certified. That's a big thing.
It's a good
I still remember my first time I had props by T Hall, and I was 13, and that will never go away. And on this topic, how would you describe your style? What words would you put around your skiing style?
I guess I tried to ski and make it feel like it's easy. You know, if it was a trick and you feel like, oh, it looks easy to make, I guess it's tidy. I guess that's the best way I could do it. You know, for example, in the pipe, because mainly I've been mainly riding pipe for the past years. I was happy and I was thinking that this new tricks could get into my run for as long as it was looking easy. You know, I don't know if it's clear, but it had to look easy. So even if it wasn't, it had to look easy. And from there, I was okay with putting it in my run. That's my style, I guess. But it's funny, sometimes I see some new girls, and some of them, sometimes on one tricks, they look like me, or it looks like I used to do it, and it makes me laugh. I'm really happy with that.
Hell yeah, you should be, because you taught them how to do it that way. Talking about dope ass tricks, I watched your Dina Star like promo video or something you had, and on the right wall, you did one like Mick Twist or something that year. Mm-hmm. Did you ever do that trick again in life?
Yeah. I remember exactly when I learned it in Avoria in France, and then I flew to US and I could put it in my run, and it was super funny because I'm still a competitive girl. That's for sure. It's in me, and I was really happy to be the first one to be able to put like an upside down trick in the pipe. So even if it didn't make me win any contest for this year, I just came back in France and telling all my family like, I'm the first girl that made this, which is ridiculous, totally ridiculous. But that's my competitive side.
Talking about competitive side and tricks, So when I saw you do a rodeo 7 in Vars in the spring of 2000, do you think you did a rodeo before Christy?
No, I'm pretty sure she made it before.
Okay.
And this rodeo on the big air, it comes from she added from the same stuff as me, which is water ski, wakeboarding.
Okay.
It comes from the wakeboard, the backflip in wakeboard, the first one you can learn, and the easiest upside down trick you learn in wakeboard. It's exactly the same takeoff of this rodeo 5.
And then you can spin it at the end, because you guys would all like almost link and loop to late spin.
Exactly. And that's the reason why she was making these tricks. I guess we never talk about it, but I'm pretty sure. And it's the reason why I tried, and because it was easy for me, because I used to do it in water ski.
Okay. That's fun. Yeah, I was trying to think in my head. I'm like, man, I can't. 99 and 2000 is hard for me to remember, because I was around both you girls at the time when you both did it. So I was just like, that's nuts. What are we watching? Oh, we're watching wakeboarding.
This is Marie water skiing.
I haven't seen your movie yet, Marie. I made Phil rent it last night so he could learn about you.
It's sold now. It's 2014. It's pretty old, but it's funny because Netflix just bought it, I guess, so you can find it on Netflix, which is funny because now new people discover me, texting me on Insta and Facebook, like, I just saw your movie. It's inspiring.
Hell yeah, you are. So what? So after here was my confusion, like in life, that I like, because I get to use these calls to like talk to friends that I like, because I could never just call you and ask you questions. It'd be kind of weird. But now that I do this platform, I can ask you fun stuff. So why'd you disappear? I never got that. Like when I looked back through it, like, I mean, I got it, and you were a steezy person, and all this, and then you had everything going. You just had 2 years of a pro model. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I don't know. You had your own lane, is my point. You didn't have to keep up to all these new girls that were coming into the sport that were only competitors, that all of a sudden influxed in about 2007 and 8. You know, I'd call it Devin Logan era, right? Like it was her and a handful of girls, that Megalenic or something, and a bunch of girls that were there for a while. But where'd you go? Why do you go from the top and you're just like, I got my pro model, I'm out?
No, I left, and to be honest, I didn't even follow what happened after I left. I mean, I discovered Devin Logan when I came back in 2013, and I did my first World Cup in Copper Mountain. I mean, I had no idea who she was before, and neither all the others. I stopped. The real reason is pretty weird, but it is the reason is I started to not being able to travel. Like I started to have a special fear, a psychological statement that made me freaking out when I was pretty far from France, which was super weird. And instead of trying to find solution, talk to someone and explain what I was going through, I thought, okay, it makes me sick to be somewhere else on the planet, so I'm just gonna quit skiing and stay here, which is the best way to be happy. And so I just quit. At the end of the winter, after trying like several times to take the plane and being freaking out of landing somewhere else than in Europe, just decided I would sponsors and said, okay, it was great, but it's done.
And you had to travel for skiing. Like you couldn't just ski in Europe and drive around and be Marie, the dope-ass French skier?
Probably I could, but then I would have to explain why I wasn't traveling anymore. And I was this international girl. I mean, my sponsor were expecting me to travel, go on trip, because they would organize them, and I had to be there. So finally, instead of explaining to everybody, I just decided to quit. But I never really talked about it I wasn't really proud of that. But then I focused on my new life, and I bought this.
So you didn't tell anyone when you quit, and you call up
No,
Dina Star, who you're with forever, and you
I
call up.
didn't tell the reasons. No.
So you're just like, I'm done. But these people are almost, they're so close to you. I'm sorry if I dig too much. Just say next thing and I can move on. But I'm trying to like, I don't know, like to cut it off. It's wild, man. So you went into a family world zone after that?
I went to a new adventure, build my own business, try to make it work, try to make money. It was the first time for me that I was working and trying to make money without skiing, which was super hard. uh, so yeah, it brings me back on normal life of a normal girl.
But at this time, you're only 23 years old. Let's just remember that, right? Like 2007. So when you do quit, you're 23.
Yeah,
You know, like, so it's not like it's an old career person.
No, but finally it's like the 6th or 7th season I'm skiing and doing only that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to live something else. But I've always had a good start. I don't know if you say that in English, but you know, I'm a lucky girl, and I've always believed in myself, and so I knew that life would be kind with me, treating me well, and but I didn't think I would come back. Really, never. Like Sarah called me, Virginie called me, they tried her, but I was like, okay, girls, have fun. But I'm done. I'm done for sure. But
So that the fear of traveling just outweighed the love of skiing by a million.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you can't really figure out when you're alone by yourself at 20 years old in Chicago in between two planes, and you are freaking out, you're crying. It's a special fear that takes all.
Okay, so you had some traumatic travel as English as a second language global traveler. All right, it all makes sense because I was trying to add up what feared you, but it may, like I would too, like even now thinking about sending the kids somewhere, I would never let them travel alone. I'd want to go with them. You know, like, what's that?
My parents, they were crazy. When I think of it, they let me do my stuff since I was 16. Dude, like traveling with you, guy.
Sean Pettit traveled with me when he was 11. Think of his parents. He's on the show next week.
Great.
Yeah, I had that episode too where I would get really anxious entering the plane, and not necessarily the fear of flying, but I think the root of it was fear of death ultimately, and not seeing my people anymore. And every time I would leave on these trips for a pretty long duration, I'd be like, I might never get to see my parents again or my brother. And I think that caused a lot of anxiety for me, like around 20 years old as well. And I feel like that was very difficult for me as well. Do you think fear of death was the root of that anxiety?
That's exactly it. And what's your question? I'm super surprised you telling me and everybody this, because it just looks exactly the same of what I've been through. What was the question?
Do you think that fear of death was ultimately like at the root of your fear of traveling and all of it? It was mostly like just not being able to see your people anymore, perhaps.
Not being able to come back and see my people again, and in another way, fear of death, which is crazy because we were skiing and doing crazy stuff, and everybody would just imagine that the fear is to jump on a 30 meters jump instead of doing something really normal in the plane, like a lot of people do. But it's exactly it, the fear of not coming back and not seeing my people. We could talk about this for a long time. That's really interesting that you've been through too.
Well, so you guys have unique positions of what you guys went through.
Like when you did choose to come back to skiing, one thing that you made sure of is to travel with your family, with your daughter and your maybe boyfriend or husband. Do you think that made it easier for you just to have your people with you when you traveled?
Yep, that's true. When I came back, I tried to make sure that every time I would fly, my husband would be with me, and And it was a total different way because I just came back to compete. So each time I would travel, I would be never by myself. I was always with the team, with the coach, or I was really by myself alone, which was different. And I was older, and I guess I'm healing also, and everything was different. I was 30 years old.
Was it easier then?
It's been a little hard by the beginning. I had to work on myself, but time after time, I get through it, and I feel like I've been able to do it. It's never easy. I mean, for example, this winter I went to Beijing, for the Olympics to commentate for the French TV. But I promise you, it was not really cool for me to be there. That brings me back to this kind of feeling like you could never come back from this fucking crazy place because you are nobody in this country.
And you went to so many crazy places. You're like, let's go to Korea where there's North Korea across the border. Let's go to Russia where they just invaded Crimea. I wouldn't even want to go to the places you go to the Olympics.
That's
crazy. I want to talk some fun comp things that you need to be praised about. So when I was looking at your event contest results, like the funnest part was because I'd noticed that your whole life seems to be about 2012 forward as far as the media and the internet is concerned. And so I was like, oh man, I guess I got to dig. And so I did the digging. I knew you were always on podiums at US Opens and X Games and stuff. And I knew there was a World Cup in 2003 and 4, when they did the RUCA World Championships randomly. So here's my funnest stat I found about you. So you had a World Cup win. It was your second one in spring of 2004. Your next highest podium in life was at the Olympics in 2014 when you got second. So big up yourself on taking a decade to wait to get a thing. And then here's the craziest part. Your next World Cup win was in 2016. So you didn't get a World Cup between 12 years apart.
Yeah.
That's so nuts. I just look at you as two humans. You're totally two different people. Yeah. And then you just hit a refresh button of some sort, whether it's trauma, awesomeness, dipping yourself in a lake. Secret stuff from Bugs Bunny. But I just wanted to big up you on that. And then I want to...
Thank you. But it was really much more difficult to get back on the podium in 2016 than it used to be when I was young in 2004. It was a lot more of girls. The level was so different, and I really had to challenge myself much more.
Point is, you evolved in 10 years to stay, that's just the thing. You could quit how many girls didn't when you showed up at an event 10 years later at the Olympics. Who was at the Olympics in 2014 that was at that World Cup in 2004?
I'd say Virginie Febvre.
Big up Virginie. I always thought Virginie was your little sister, and I just realized she's older when you posted the happy birthday thing.
Yeah, that's her day today. Well,
happy birthday, Virginie.
Happy birthday, Virg, for sure. But I guess she probably is the only one because, what's her name? She wanted to be in the game, but she finally couldn't get qualified because she's American, and it's really only 4 places, and that was a bunch of girls skiing well. It's she blew only 20 times. From Park City. Help me.
What does she look like?
She looks well, and she is always
no, tight, I don't know, blonde hair, dark hair, but that's nice.
No, she's always commentating on X Games.
Megan.
Jen Hudak.
Yeah, okay, that was it. But finally, it was only, and it would have been Sarah. And it would have been the 3 of us, that's all. Yeah, all the others were new. Maybe Anaïs Caradeux, but she wasn't from the beginning, but she could come.
How many of those girls had a pro model in that 10-year time period?
I have no idea.
None.
And then
Greta's like the only other girl.
Oh,
you
really?
took that break of 2007 to 2011. They announced that Olympics is going to be that skiing's going to be in the Olympics. But then you have no sponsors. You ain't been skiing for a while. But then you affiliate with a company and create your own pro model garments, skis, clothing. Can you talk about that, like creating and designing skis and outerwear for you to wear during Olympic?
I want to know how you got to that point. Like when you do get answer Phil's, but like how do you even get, because when you came back, a style question to me was when I saw you for the first time and you're with a whole new brand. I was like, what is this style? And I didn't know. So I'd love to hear your story, how you created your second go around style. And then
The thing is that when I decided to come back, I had a super cool talk with the boss of PVS production, David Lacotte. And he used to ski for Dinosaur when we were young, and then he created this video production company. And so we were talking, and he was doing some advertising for this new company, Wedze. But what you have to know is that Wedze was part of the Decathlon firm, and the Decathlon firm is huge in France. It's big stores that sells sport stuff in every sport. So they have a great development part in this film. And so David just told me, Marie, the ski industry is not the same as it was when you left. It's just getting super difficult for everybody. There's no money left. And I'm not sure you have neither the time and you will be able to convince people to follow you again, and to find a ski company, a clothes company, a helmet company, a Google company. And he told me, you should contact Wedze from the Decathlon firm, which are creating every product you would need and which are in need of a nice image. They would need someone like you to help them getting at the level they want to be. So I just contact them, and they gave me a pair of skis, and I flew to Mammoth in May and start skiing over there with those skis, and they were pretty good. So I came back and told them, your skis are really good. I was super surprised that from someone that is not a ski company, getting able to make those kind of good skis, I'm super surprised. So I told them some stuff I would change on them. Basically, they were great freestyle skis. And so I make my, I wrote everything, give it back to them. And they appreciated the fact that I didn't talk to them about money or contract, or I just talked to them about their product. And that's the way it started. They loved my feedback finally and really wanted to work on all the other product with my feedback. And also they admit, and they told me we bought, I don't know how it's called in English, but they bought the technology of head, and it was a head freestyle ski. Nobody knew it, but the technology of the ski was the head ski, which explained definitely why the ski was so good. And so we've been working together for the 3 years after that, and then they left. Then they left, and I had to rebuild everything for the next Olympic in Pyeongchang. Which is
so did they leave right after the Olympics, or did they hang on for another year?
Yeah, by the end of my contract was going 1 year after the Olympic, and by the end of it, they didn't want to resign. They changed. It's the problem with big, huge. The marketing director must have been changed, and then everything changed, and they said, "Bye, Marie."
Well, we gotta say big up David, because David knew the right vision for telling you what to do. Because if you wouldn't have done that, I don't think any of it would have been possible. So fucking David's a smart guy.
Yeah, and I owe him really a lot, and he knows. I always tell him that that was exactly what I needed, and he knew it. Just like, yeah, put me in the right direction to be sure because it was super short. I had like 6 months to try to find money to be able to travel in the US and make the World Cup that would give me the points to get a chance to be qualified for the year after Olympic Games. So it was super short.
How long did it take you to qualify for the Olympics? Like when the season started?
I make the first World Cup in Copper Mountain, like usual. It's always the first Copper, like at the beginning of December. I won the qualies, which was crazy. So I was in final, and pretty much for the French people, for the French Federation, it was enough to be able to get in finals. So of course I wanted more, and I wanted to be able to do better. But from this first contest, it was pretty much okay. And then by the end of the year,
so you had no stress your Olympic year when you came back.
No, pretty much no, because it was no girls, only Allez from France.
Oh yeah,
coming back. So yeah, pretty much no stress. And then I finished by winning the European X game in Tignes. So then after that, it was sure I would go to the Olympics. So.
Wicked.
Yeah. But it's funny, back at this time when I get back in the pipe, so I know absolutely nobody except Virginie and Anaïs. And the girls are looking at me at the training, super interested. Like some of them would tell the other, like, she used to ski, been watching her in some video and I know her. And some other would just don't know me at all.
Well, they probably half of them went to Queen's Cup and stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I was thinking about it. Like BG had Anna Demacier had like all those girls right before they were up and coming.
That's true. The Queen's Cup. That's funny. You know how I started the Queen's Cup? It started so Queen's Cup, a contest with only girls having fun for like 3 days and it started because I was smoking a doobie with Anna at her place in Park City, and she was like, I really would love to do something for the ski industry. I'm not gonna be a skier like an athlete, that's for sure, we know that, but I still want to do something. And I was like, you could be like the first girl contest organizer and do something cool for the girls side of it. And she was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then,
and she went nuts.
But she did it. I mean,
yeah, big up on Demacier.
An idea, and she took it and she made it happen.
Yeah,
that was cool.
What do you got, Phil?
Man, like, as far as the ski nerd, this pipe run that you did win X Games with is just like so fucking beautiful. I wish I could do half of that in the pipe. But this next trick after this right 5, the flare is so Mikkel, like, it's so pretty. God damn. How dope is this run, Eric?
Super dope. Yeah, I was always a super fan. Like, because it's so fun because you didn't want to just do a straight air or like try to do something whack. Like, you knew a 360 with a grab was cooler than a 720 with an iron cross.
The thing is that I wanted to be clean. I wanted to make a good ski. There is the tricks, there is the ski in the transition, and I wanted everything to be nice looking. And so that's what I'm proud. It's okay, there is cool tricks and there is cool grabs, but there is also like something coming from the top to the bottom, which is clean. And it was we missed this in the girls, I guess. Like, there's a lot of girls able to do crazy tricks, but in between they ski like someone that's been learning to ski 3 weeks ago. And it's just, it's nonsense because they know how to ski, but they didn't really focus on it and they don't try to make it swim. And I think it's a big part of it in girls run.
Well, that's why pipe took so long, right? Because you had to link so many things together.
Yeah,
Like it's such a where you have to keep doing. It's not like the first evolution of you girls was a photo and a single trick. Now the guys did it too, right? We drop in on a half pipe and do one hitters, but then by 2000, everyone's like, "Oh man, I want 2 or 3 shots in a row." You know, so it already evolved, and like with you guys, it was still allowed because it was all that was needed to market you. You know. Because if you have one girl on the team, like you don't need to prove yourself again next year.
No, you don't have to push yourself, and so I'm very glad for that to have been able to come back because it was a total new challenge. And for this X game in US, the thing is that the year before I wasn't invited because I've been injured. I had a knee injured some months before, so I couldn't compete. So I had no points. And when you don't have no point, you are low in the ranking, and they don't invite you anymore. And I was super pissed of that. And I was calling Chris Schuster every 2 days, like,
I did it for you too. I didn't even talk to him for years before, and I just sent him messages. And then you won Dew Tour or something. Then we served him.
Yeah, but at this time, the year before this X game, I wasn't even invited, and so they finally invited me as someone that skis if someone else is getting injured right before the contest, and that's horrible because you're waiting down in the pipe, like basically you're waiting that someone else get injured. That's fucking crazy. So I didn't like it at all, and so this year, the year before, I was skiing super well as I could in this half pipe, and it was beautiful. And everybody, like the guys, would come to me and say, "Oh, Marie, this is for you this year." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not competing. Shut the fuck up." And so I guess the next year, I was so happy to finally be invited that it was fun. 1 year later, but that's the story. Oh my God. Terrible.
It's a good one though.
Yeah, well, it's not invited, and it happens to everybody. For some reasons, at one time, you don't get invited at X Games, and you feel like you deserve it, and it's hard, really.
But at this time in life, looking back, no one knows you weren't invited ever to anything. They just know your awesomeness. So you made it to 38, giving life to things. You dominated. It's all good. But I can feel your pain when you don't get invited and you're the best.
Nah, even if you're not the best, and I'm not saying I was the best.
I said it.
Of course, I was not. Thank you. But yeah, it's hard when it's an invitation that you know that you could prove that you deserve your place, but you can't because of no points. It's shitty.
I feel like this will lead nowhere, but still, like, Mikkel is a great reference for your style, Marie, but I think I see a lot of Candide, too, like, in you. Did you have any influence from Candide growing up?
I think it comes from the fact that we are European and that we've been skiing the same mountains since we were super young. And he was also a mogul skier, and there is a way that people teach you how to ski when you are young, which was pretty much probably the same for Candide than for me or Mick. But there's something different with Candide. It's that super young, like, from the very beginning, he's been apart. He was riding by himself, even in the dinosaur crew. I mean, it was the dinosaur team with the Fields, with Dave Crichton, me, Dave Crichton. Oh my God, it was tiny too. And it was Candide next to it with his own cameraman, with his own staff, pretty much, and his own project. And I mean, I know Candide. He's a friend of mine. If I see him in the street, we're going to have a talk for 10 minutes. but I could not say that he was my friend or that we've been sharing stuff together, because I've never been involved really in what he wanted to do. But it's not because he's a bad guy. No,
No, he's just a mysterious individual that is on his own and everything.
That's it. On his own.
It's not a bad thing at all. That's why everyone loves him as much as they do, because he disappears for 2 years and then he's by himself with his cameramen making awesomeness, and that satisfies him.
Candid.
Candid. Oh, Phil, what else you got, man?
On a different level. I mean, we could be jumping ahead forward, like two Olympic medal. One thing that I think was very honorable that you did is you hosted your own event in the memory of Sarah Burke, Air Ladies. Can you talk about hosting that and putting that together to sort of like cherry on the cake after like all your success in competitive world?
The thing is that I from the beginning, I knew I owned a lot to Sarah, and she was my friend, and I really think that the only way to make her still live was to write, of course, and to make her live, like to make people remember, and to make people getting together and sharing stuff in her name. So when I signed with Teen Resort, and I told them I'd love to make a contest, the director told me, okay, I'm good with that, and we'll organize it for sure. We'll do it. So I was super happy, and we've been working on this at the same time as I was working on my competition and my training for the Olympics. And when I was in Sochi, Sarah's coach came to me and he gave me the rest of her hashes, which was pretty crazy. I wasn't ready for that, and I didn't even know he would do that. So Trenan, he came to me after the Olympics and he was like, okay, Mary, that's the rest of Sarah's ashes. We've been spraying all the rest everywhere in the world, in every places she would love. I spread a little bit in the half pipe here in Sochi, because she would have so enjoyed to be here. And so I know you're gonna organize this contest in 3 weeks in Teen, and she would love Teen. She was in love with this place, and we've been talking about it in the team and with Rory, and we think it would be cool if you can get the end of it and close the circle. And dude, I was getting back in the plane from Sochi with my medal, my silver medal on the in front of me, and Sarah's ashes in a little box. And I was like for 3 hours of flight in front of those two things, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, life is just amazing. You were owning a pub 2 years ago, and then you are coming back from the Olympic with one of the greatest person in Earth's ashes, and your medal from the biggest contest ever, and that was great. So we did it. All the girls get back in their home and flew back to Teen, and we made the Sarah Burke tribute Air Ladies. The resort just killed it, and the organization really great. I mean, put a lot of money to make it huge, and we spread the rest of the ashes in the mountain. Super nice place. I was just feeling like I was doing exactly what I had to do. What I have been coming back to do. It was a super great feeling that I never had after that, I guess.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah, it was great, and I will never thank enough Trenan for doing this. It was a great present, and I was super I was holding the box with the ashes everywhere. We kept it with us the whole week, and by the end of the week we sprayed it. But so she came with us, and we had to go for the week of the LADs. That was stick. I guess she was really happy about that.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's an amazing story, Furberg.
Yeah.
That was great. But when you do things with your heart, when you believe in what you're doing, the life is giving it back to you. I'm so into this way of thinking.
Seems to work out, I think. That's a good angle at life, Marie.
Yeah, for sure.
Wise words for the people listening out there. Any advice to younger girls trying to make it in free skiing or any extreme sport in general at acquiring dreams or fulfilling them?
But I would say try to find a crew, like find some, like build your crew or get inside a crew that works, a crew that with cool people that enjoy what they're doing, that are passionate, and that should work. I mean, it worked for me and it worked for a bunch of girls, of the girls. It's probably the best way, like having fun with other people, sharing the same thing with other people is probably the only way to make extreme sports, like taking the same risk, sharing why you take them or why you don't take them at this time, and being surrounded by people that have experience. I would do that.
Well put. And one more thing I want to jump on, because you've been like a mogul, you've been doing so many different things. For instance, a podcast, Bleu Metal. So anybody who wants to hear Marie speak to athletes and such, check it out. But one thing that jumped off is you're certified in mental preparation for professional performance. That's straight translated from French, so it might not be quite accurate. But can you give us some tools of mental preparation for a challenging situation you give to athletes you work with?
So I did that when we were all stuck at home for the COVID. And instead of losing my time, I just followed this formation. So I would say that the mental aspect of the things is so important. It's just the main of the whole things, that you can be the best at training if you're not able to give the same in the competition because you get super stressed, or you can be the best in your own place, but if you can't talk to people outside and tell them what your idea is, because you get stressful, because you have to be very good at one point at one moment, then it's nonsense. And so I've been working on that. There's no there is different situation, and when you talk to an athlete, there's some stuff he's gonna have organized in his mind already, so you will not have to work on it. And there is other stuff that he doesn't even know that he could work on, but that's very interesting. The brain and mental stuff is so interesting, because there is a bunch of things that you don't even know we are able to do, even in healing, for example, or in projection, in mental projection. For example, you blow your knee and you know you're out for 6 months. If you keep on skiing in your mind, doing lines, doing tricks, it's 80% the same as if you would keep on skiing. And
Marie, I'm going to interrupt you and make Phil tell you the craziest story of his recovery this spring, because he's a perfect example of it. Phil, this was this spring or last spring?
I broke my femur this winter.
Okay, last winter. Tell her the whole process, because he came back in like 2 months, and then he told me how he did it mentally. His brain, we love the brain. We talk about the brain probably as much as skiing and anything else. So I want Phil to share this story because it'll be fun for you, Marie. And if anyone's listening and ever been injured, this is going to be the best advice you'll ever get in your whole life times a million. Go, Phil.
Dan, you hyped it so much. I don't even know what I did really, other than
Whiteboard. The whiteboard.
The whiteboard. Yeah. So I was in the hospital, just got my femur fixed, and I was stranded in my bed, and there was a whiteboard on the wall where they would write whatever time they'd give me pills, and I just went ahead and got up, and on the whiteboard I just put my wishes and goals on that board and looked at him for when I was in the duration of the hospital stay, and manifested them afterwards. So I came back 2 months out of a femur injury and was able to come skiing at Kimbo Session and make it happen. And expectancy to come back on skis was way further and just not quite on the scheme of things that I had imagined, but I just went ahead and I think writing them down and having it visually always in your face is a great way for things to manifest, and especially not overlooking them, just like having them and really consciously working on them and like imagining, like you said, Marie, earlier, like 80% is in your head. So if you visualize and repeat it and see it, then it's pretty close to being the damn truth. And then it comes in your dreams. Last night I was ski dreaming, fucking crushed it, did a trick I'd never done before, some right side spins, stayed in the air for a few seconds more than I should have. It's fun stuff to work in the process of visualization.
Yeah, visualization. Project yourself doing stuff. It works. It's amazing. But I mean, the scientists proved it. So they took different people playing some piano, and some of them could train on the piano for 1 month, and the others couldn't train, but they had to visualize what they have to play in their brain, and then they put them together back, and finally the one that couldn't play but visualized what they had to do after 2 days, they are as good as the others. It's amazing. There is crazy story about what brain can do, and it's something that all the big athletes and sports performer must work on.
I think the best part about freestyle skiing and the fact that you guys were part of the beginning was you had to visualize something that's never been visualized before, because otherwise you'd land on your head. And so it's a different thing than going to YouTube and hitting stop, rewind in slow motion. And so the visualization that you guys had to have at an early phase in the sport was so nuts. Because, I mean, we saw it every day, how many times people crashed, but they had to be perfect or they weren't skiing tomorrow.
And the thing is that now there is all this big airbag, and you can like try 1,000 times a new tricks before really taking the risk of doing it on the snow. Yeah. And but back at the time, for us, it was just okay. Let's do it.
Yeah. And all the way even up to still like modern skiing, you know. Henrik never did a nose butter triple like before he did one at X Games. And he was in a flat area of the country in the US with Phil in Ohio. And he flew out to X Games in Aspen, and he visualized it so much that he already did it 10,000 times minimum in his head for maybe a year or two. And then did it once and then said, I'll do it again next year. So, yeah, fun brain talks. Phil, I just saw the time, and Marie, we could definitely talk for 2 hours. We try to do it around an hour, but fuck, it's so fun to see your face and talk and go through random stuff. That's awesome. But Phil, do you have anything else that pokes out on all your fun things with Marie?
No, I think we could keep going. Obviously, Marie, you're like the extent of what you accomplish is just like so big that we could jump into the details. But here, I think we covered some precious things and got some valuable, wise words from you. And we really appreciate your time and also commitment to skiing and all that you brought to the sport. And to see you in the real world also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And behalf of Phil and myself, like, just thank you. End of skiing. Because that's the whole point, you know, like, that's why we want to do this. Make sure someone reaches out to you and make sure you know what you did for the sport. Make sure they say thank you for what you did to the sport because you're still here. And that's awesome. We don't need to write it in like some magazine later on in life about how great you were. Might as well tell you now while we can.
Thank you a lot, and thanks for what you're doing. It's great to be sure that people that want to have some story have the good story from the beginning and how it works, where we are all coming from. It's really important for the little kids to know where we are all coming from.
Hell yeah, they need to know who Marie is.
Well, I don't know if it's really important, but
I do. That's why we called you.
Story is important.
Facts.
So thank you, Marie.
Hey, take care of you, and hope to see you around for real.
Yeah, for real would be nice. Airplanes and stuff and people. I got to do that too. And now it's not only scary, but it's expensive. So.
Yeah, no.
So, well, also congratulations to you. You're having a baby in a week or two, I believe.
That's
and
it.
Best of luck with that. You know, and hope it all goes smooth and perfect. Big belly. Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Take care of you and have fun.
Yeah. Word. Take care, Marie. Oh, Phil dropped. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Peace.
Bye.
Peace out. Bye.
All right, Phil. What's our next move? I don't know. Oh.
You press. Oh, you got it. But normally, if you want to kick someone out, you go to the top where it's written New Schoolers, and you click on it, and then it will appear yours and my name, and then the other people, and then you just fucking kick the person out. Like, wow.
That was a good first episode on the New Schoolers Instagram platform.
Yeah, congrats on making it happen, man. We gonna be here weekly, y'all. So
next week, if you're still here, whoever's here, we got Sean Pettit. Sean Pettit, another originator, beginner. I got to travel with this little guy since he was 11, and he's still in the game almost 18, 19 years. So
yeah,
we stoked,
still
man.
in the game, and even he changed the video fucking cassette. Because he dominated the game. He did it all 100%, and then just changed the cassette and did something else. You know what I mean?
The first part rhymed dope, though. First part rhymed dope. Awesome, guys. Thank you, whoever's still watching. Whoever it is, whoever tuned in, man. Like, I appreciate it. Next week, we'll keep doing this. We just want to celebrate the people that helped create the sport. Fucking with Phil Casabon, give him a follow if you don't. If you're just on New Schoolers, watch his shit. It's epic. Go get yourself some Dark Horse Farms from Ross Jacobs, some white CBD. CBG.
Sean knows.
John does know. So give thanks. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Iberg.
Yeah, man.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.